Okay. It still looks crooked, but...
Hey, Jimmy.
Hold on a minute. I guess that'll work.
Hey, everybody. Are we crooked?
The camera looks like it's a little bit off.
Are we leaning?
Maybe we're just off.
Maybe it's me.
It's probably us.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm all right. I
Good.
hope the camera didn't catch me yawning there.
Yeah, well, we may yawn again before it's over with.
Yeah. How are you? And speaking of yawning, how y'all doing out there? This is Pastor Will and
Jimmy.
with the world famous Will and
Jimmy Show.
or if you're in a certain part of the world, it may be called the Jim and
Willie Show.
That's right. Okay. Well, Jimmy, looks like we've got your little Christmas tree. Jimmy doesn't do much decorating. He says this is just about what he does.
That's about it. We got our tree
Yeah.
and our little TV. Listen to this.
Yeah,
Listen.
let's see here. Now, is there something inside moving around?
Yeah, there's a little train that moves around on the inside.
okay.
Goes around a little track.
Okay.
That is the extent of our Christmas decorations this year.
Not. We've got a lot more stuff in here, Jimmy. We've got a number of poinsettias.
Beautiful
We've
poinsettias.
got the Advent candles are burning. We've got cards sitting and hanging up in the building. We have some Christmas banners, Advent banners. What else we got? We don't have a Christmas tree.
No, we
got a
didn't.
wreath on the door, and we have Christmas lights around our windows facing the sidewalk, and those burn all the time. We have those burning every day. Don't we?
Very colorful.
Yeah,
Pretty.
we do.
Yeah, we sure do.
So what do y'all got at your place? Did you decorate a tree this year?
Well, if you haven't, you're running out of time.
Yeah,
The time is almost here.
it's almost
the
upon us.
countdown is here.
Well, a week from tonight. I mean, it's going to be. Can you believe 1 week till Christmas Day?
Cannot believe it.
Wow.
Can't believe
It's
it.
really flown by this year.
It has.
It didn't creep up on us. It just
It did.
swamped us.
Advent is almost over.
Yeah.
Seems like we just started that yesterday.
Yes.
You know, I was driving around this past weekend and noticed a lot of Christmas trees still left over on the lots that sell the real Christmas trees. And it just makes me wonder how that, because I think most people are getting away from those now.
Well,
And just, times change, I guess.
Yes.
I'm always fearful of those because they get so dry. That's what, I love a real tree, love the smell of a real tree. Don't necessarily like the mess of a real
Right.
tree, but still, just for safety reasons, that kind of concerns me.
well, one year I took it was a pine, I guess, out behind the parsonage where I was living about a week after Christmas, and I decided to put up a real tree and kept it watered and the whole bit. And it was lying out in the edge of the yard, and I just threw a match in it, and I mean, it literally exploded until the fire was up above the top of the house. I mean, it shocked me
Yeah.
how.
You see these fire training videos online
Yeah.
of the firefighters doing that
Right.
to show how serious, how quick those go up. So that's enough for me.
Well, I think that's been 30 years ago, and I've never had a real tree
Yeah.
after that. I really, I enjoy smelling the evergreens.
Too.
But pretty soon it's all going to be ready for a new year coming up,
Yes.
2025.
Wow.
And what are it's a little early for resolutions. We better wait another week or two on that.
It's not really something that I
Yeah.
do, but I've
Yeah.
got a few
Yeah.
that have already started.
Well, let's
you
just
know.
call it a bucket list.
Okay, the bucket
Yeah,
list.
this year instead of resolutions, how about just having a bucket list? That'd be a pretty good way of
It's
looking
good.
at it.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yep.
So Jimmy,
Yep.
I see you're wearing your short pants.
I am today. Yes.
Somebody told me they bet you would.
And they wore theirs.
If it's anywhere under 30 degrees, you may put on some long pants.
Usually, if the highs are going to be upper 50s and 60s, I definitely wear
Yeah,
shorts.
exactly.
But I notice
Well-
that each year, as I get a little bit older, I can handle the cold weather a little bit less. So I've worn socks a couple of times this year already, and that's not generally like me. So.
Well, I saw a Facebook picture. There was a college student walking across the quad at the college with his backpack and his books, and he had on a pair of shorts, and it said, "There's always that one guy."
Yeah.
It was wading through the snow, and they said, "There's always that one." But
There he is.
Jimmy is always that one here.
Always have.
And I know it's really wintertime when Jimmy and Landon both come in with long pants on.
It's a good indicator.
It's a good indicator.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the weather rock.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, we've got one more week until Christmas. And what are you wanting? What's your greatest wish for Christmas this year?
Well, just a nice, peaceful time.
Peace on earth.
Celebration and a little rest.
There we go.
I think that's, spending time with the ones that you love.
Right.
As you can.
What more could we ask
and,
for?
Yep. And some good food and
Right.
and just a good time.
Right.
Lots to reflect on. Lots of great things have happened this
Right.
year. It's been a good year.
Yes, it has.
A lot of things to be thankful for. We're blessed in so many ways. We just we forget about
Right,
them. We're
we do.
blessed in so many.
Yeah.
So just that time of reflection, I think that's very
Right.
important.
It's a challenging year, but a good year. Okay. Let's see. Jimmy, you might want to mention something because we've
Okay.
only got less than a week now really to work on it. But Jimmy has the camera set up in the building. And if you are viewing this and you're in the downtown community or close by and want to stop in, we would love for you to get on camera and wish all your neighbors and friends far and near a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
You've had a few people today.
We've already had a few people today.
Yes.
And we did something like this a couple of years ago.
Right.
But we haven't done it, I think, in 2 years.
Right.
And as I was thinking, and what we're doing is we're going to do a virtual Christmas Eve
Yes,
service
yes.
at 8 o'clock on Christmas Eve and a repeat at 11.
Right.
So, and we did that, and I was thinking, well, what can we do this year? And that was the first thing that came to my mind. And we get people who are friends of Shades of Grace, people who are our friends that are in the streets.
Sure.
If they're willing to do that. So if you are, we are running out of time. So
Yeah.
today's Wednesday. Probably need to have those by after church on Saturday.
Okay.
To have time to get all that together. And if you're not, I know a lot of folks who view us are not able to come here in person, but if you are a little tech savvy and you want to record your own video of you wishing everybody a Merry Christmas or sharing a scripture, sharing a Christmas
A song,
tradition,
yeah.
whatever.
Miss Bell, there you go. Miss Bell always shares a Christmas song
She
with
does.
us virtually. So
Belly.
Bell's son is Billy. So I'm trying to say, Bell, get Billy to help you there. And do a song and send it in to Jimmy like you do. And we'd love to have you featured on our
Absolutely.
Christmas Eve virtual platform.
What's the old saying? The
Yeah.
more, the merrier.
Right, there we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
the more the merrier.
If you have any questions or you need any help with that, reach out to me here over the next few
Yeah.
days. We'll make this happen.
Yeah.
To get you involved.
Y'all wouldn't know it. Jimmy's over here doing this. He was doing this a little while ago,
Was I?
right here in this place, because he opened his mouth and he was going to sing "I'll Fly Away, Oh Glory," and a bug came right in and right here.
Right there.
He was back here just gagging.
The wings were right here, and the body of it was right here. And needless to say, it didn't stay there very long.
You gagged it up.
I did.
He got it up.
Yeah. So
Anyway, that's
it's the first time that's happened in a long time.
Yeah.
Very long time.
well, leave it up to Shades of Grace.
That's
It'll
right.
happen. I've not even
right.
seen a bug in there.
That's what I was thinking. Here it is winter.
Wintertime,
And
I'm
I
not-
was just over here setting up the lights.
Maybe
and
it's
getting
the
everything
warmth
fired
of the
up.
lights.
Maybe.
They've been burning there for a while.
Yeah.
And it may have the heat brought one
Maybe. Well,
somehow to life.
It definitely brought it here. And,
Yeah.
kind of knocked me down for a few minutes, but I'm back.
Well, Jimmy,
Yes.
let's see. Something remarkable happened this past weekend. Not this past weekend, but a week ago. And
Very remarkable.
let everybody know what that would have been.
We reached a milestone on our social media Facebook platform, and we have our Sunday 4 o'clock virtual service had 48,100
Amazing.
views. 48,000.
And typically, we'll hit about 24,000. I thought that was that fly. We usually hit about half that number. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but we got a double dose of the glory, didn't we?
Yeah, later in the week,
Yeah.
too. It's
Just
kinda
kept
what happened.
climbing.
It just kept going and going.
But 48,000 views, that's amazing for a little storefront church.
Usually we get our most views through, say, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and that's kind of where
Yeah.
we'll still get a few, but that's where it levels off, but it just kept going and going.
Well, I'm
and
going to
going.
look, we're recording this on Tuesday, and let me just see how many we may have had. Do you know, have you
We
looked
were
at
at 17,000 earlier today.
it? Okay,
for
right
this.
now, we are on 16,800. Does that sound
Yeah,
about
that's
right?
about right, yep.
16,800. So we still need to get a few more views on there
But it's still early.
today, but they're still climbing, aren't they?
Yes, yep.
They are still
And you know that
climbing.
happens by people sharing when you like and you share our services and it goes out. You just never know who's going to pick it up and share it, and it just keeps going and going and going until we
That's
get to
true.
these
Yeah,
numbers.
that is right.
So 48,100. I'm still
Amazing. Yeah.
I mean, as I sit there and watch it, it took my breath away just watching those numbers. I could go back every couple hours and it had
Right.
grown 3,000 or 4,000 views just in a couple hours.
Amazing.
This
Yeah.
little storefront church.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is amazing.
God is doing some amazing work
Yeah.
in this social media world. And,
Yeah.
just a few short years ago, this wasn't even
Hadn't
a
even
thing.
heard about it.
Wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
And prior to the pandemic, many churches didn't do
Right,
this.
right.
And now pretty much everybody does that, has some sort of social media avenue.
Right.
Whether it be Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, there's something out there. So thankfully, when the pandemic hit, we were kind of
We're already,
we had an audience building.
Yes.
Definitely building. We were a little ahead of the curve a little
we
bit.
didn't have to reinvent the wheel.
And,
So, Jimmy, something else happened there on Friday night, too.
we did. We had
Tell them
a
about that.
wonderful Friday Night Live, a Shades of Grace Christmas with Dr. Smitty. Landon was.
Let me see how many we got on that one.
Yeah, let's
Hold on.
look at that too.
Yeah, go ahead and
But
talk.
what a great time. Dr. Smitty put that together and put a lot of work into that, and
Yes,
he
he
did
did.
not disappoint.
No,
I
it
enjoyed
was
that
great.
so much.
And
It
we
was
have
so great.
had, let's
What we
see,
got there?
13,600 views
Yeah.
of our Shades of Grace Christmas. And unfortunately, Landon was not able to be with us that night because he had this sore throat and all the fever and stuff that's been going around. But he was able to be back with us on Saturday morning and
Yes.
help us out. So, it's when somebody is missing from the services, like the virtual service that we do, it's like having a big puzzle with all the pieces and maybe 2 or 3 blank spaces.
Right.
It's not complete.
That's right. Yep.
So, and that's the same way with you. If you're not there, we look for your names. Many of you who live away from the area, people who faithfully worship with us virtually. And when we don't see your name, we're concerned. We
are
always
concerned.
praying the best for you and hoping the best for you.
Yep. And we had a full house in person.
Oh, we did.
We had,
Put out extra chairs.
We had to bring out extra chairs. We had a nice little pizza dinner prior to the
Yes.
show. And
those huge, big, they really are like this. The big chef's
Big chef,
square
yeah. I
pizzas.
think it's like 38 inches
Yeah.
around, the big
Yeah.
circle pizzas.
Yeah.
We had 4 of those. I mean, our kitchen was full, and those pizzas were gone.
Gone.
I mean, gone.
Yes, and
So-
a lot of the folks from the streets came in, and just friends from the neighborhood.
And we
It was
had
just a good time.
We had a lot of people who stayed the whole time. We had a lot of people in and out.
Come and go.
And I think it's safe to say we had over 100 people
Yeah.
easily
Oh,
that
yeah.
attended for that. But it was so good. It was really good, just kind of kicking the Christmas
it
spirit.
was.
Kind of.
Yeah,
know.
and we had, Lloyd had made some hot chocolate.
Yes, he did.
And Terry told me a while ago that he thought that was more, what did he say?
Chocolate gravy.
More like chocolate gravy, Lloyd. So, yeah, how many of y'all ever heard of chocolate gravy? Anybody? Had you
Yeah,
said you'd
yeah,
heard of it.
yeah.
Terry
Yeah.
said his grandmother made it. When I moved to this area 30 years ago, the first time I had heard of chocolate gravy was when I was at Hilton's and Mount Vernon, and they made chocolate gravy. I never heard of it in my life. So that was quite interesting.
That is.
For sure.
And I remember it. A friend of mine's mother made it, and I never had it as a child, but probably 18 years old, and to be honest with you, it wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
So we got a special, thank you.
Thank you.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
You. God bless you.
It's always going here all the time.
Exactly.
But I always
Yeah.
we were talking about gravy. Now here we go talking about food again.
Well, let me tell you what.
Okay, go ahead.
We were talking about the chocolate gravy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Terry's over there. Terry was that guy from the funeral home. That guy looked like a funeral director.
Hamlet Dobson.
We got to go.
brings those
Yeah,
Christmas
okay.
gifts each year.
Well, anyway, thank you, Hamlet Dobson. Anyway, you can always tell a guy from the funeral home can't you? When they
Yeah.
come walking by. They've
Yeah,
just
I
got
guess.
that look.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're talking about the chocolate gravy, and Terry said my grandmother used to make tomato gravy. And I said, well, what is tomato gravy? He said, well, it's gravy made from tomatoes. And I thought, well,
true.
okay,
That's true.
that's the answer, but it wasn't exactly the one I'm looking for. How many of you, first of all, let's do a little comparison quiz here. How many of you, wherever you are, have heard or have tasted chocolate gravy?
That's one.
Okay?
Yep.
And now also, how many of you ever heard of tomato gravy?
No.
And I've never heard of tomato
No.
gravy.
No.
I love tomatoes in almost any way you can get them, so I probably
So,
would love that.
that might be something to try.
I'm sure I
Yeah.
would like that. I believe
No.
I would. But how many of you all have heard of that? Okay?
No.
So let's see. Let's see. Someone brought you some fruitcake cookies today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I haven't torn into those yet. But
Fruitcake cookies.
Yes.
That sounds interesting.
sounds very
It
good.
sounds like an old-fashioned recipe.
Probably,
And I've noticed a lot of people are going back to replicating recipes from back maybe 80 years ago, 90 years ago, maybe in the Depression era or before or after,
Yeah.
when maybe items were hard to come by and you had to just use whatever you had to throw into it.
Get very creative.
Yeah.
And those are some of the best things.
Yes.
Really,
Yeah,
because, you didn't have a lot of milk, you didn't have a lot of eggs, you didn't have a
Right.
lot of butter.
right.
Which is all the ingredients for all the good stuff
Sure.
that we eat today. But I like those old things.
Yeah.
We need to
And,
get back to more of that.
And we're talking about that with all the ingredients that you put into your cooking and baking for Christmas. Have you ever tried the cricket flour?
No, I've never even heard of that.
You never heard of
No.
that? Yeah, we were talking about it over here. I think it was Doug and Terry. Some of us were talking about it there a minute ago.
Cricket
That
flour.
There are cricket farms. You
Okay.
can Google it. All you got to do is Google it, and you find all kinds of places where they raise crickets commercially, and then when they grow up, they kill them somehow and crush them and grind them up, just like you're grinding up corn and grain and wheat, and they make flour out of it. And they're actually full of protein, nutritious, and healthy, but it's made from crickets. Yeah. Had you not heard of that?
No, I've never heard
How
of
many of
that.
y'all have heard from that? Let me just
Yeah.
Google cricket flour
So I
and
guess
see
it's
what
a
happens
healthy
here.
alternative to like an enriched flour. Right?
Yeah, let's see what we get
Okay.
here. Go ahead and I'll beat that.
Well, I'm curious to see. I want to know what this is.
CRICKET, flour, FLOUR. Let's see now.
I don't know about that.
Okay, look here. The first thing that comes up is eat bugs. There's cricket flour. You can buy it in Walmart for $19.99. I don't know how big is that. And there we go, cricket flour. Cricket flour is a protein-rich powder made from crickets using various processes. Cricket flour differs. Let's see. Well, wait a minute. Let's see. Well, I lost my spot there.
Keep going down.
Okay. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Cricket flour differs from true flours made from grains because it's mainly composed of protein rather than starches and dietary fiber. And the cost is depending on location, but the average cost of cricket flour is around $40 a pound. And that would equal about 4,800 crickets. This price is inflated due to limited commercialization and few processors. So there you go. Some of you entrepreneurs that are looking for something new, how about raise the crickets and make some flour. It's very healthy.
Well, it sounds like a healthier
Yeah.
option.
Yeah,
You know.
it does. So how many of y'all knew about that?
Have you ever used it?
Yeah.
Has anyone ever used that before?
Well, I'll tell you what I have tried, and it's not my favorite. When Pastor Michelle was here, by the way, we are in beautiful studio Michelle right here
We are.
in Michelle's old office. But Pastor Michelle used to make this pizza when she was here and bring it in real thin crust, and it had the cauliflower crust. It was the crushed cauliflower, ground up, baked, and instead of flour, it was cauliflower.
Yeah.
So why not cricket flour?
Well,
Why not? I can handle that.
I think I've had my fair share of
You've had
protein
your
for today.
Fair,
But you know,
share
if
of
I
it.
probably didn't know about it, I
Yeah.
you know.
I think I could handle that. Let us know if you've used it. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, let
I'm
us know.
curious.
And if you bake something with it and bring it by, I'll test it for you. I'll be glad to check it out. Okay?
We'll record that
Yeah.
if that happens.
Yeah.
That might be part of our show.
We can have a cricket eating contest. I like my crickets,
Oh, my.
crickets at least baked and roasted, good and crispy.
But I
crispy
guess, I mean, people do that. Some
Oh, yeah.
cultures
Oh, yeah.
eat the crickets,
Absolutely.
and grasshoppers, and
Yeah.
I've seen chocolate-covered grasshoppers
Yeah.
that you can buy. And
Oh, yeah.
no.
Well, how's this turning out for your week before Christmas? Is this whetting your appetite for something new, something different?
If weight loss is in your New Year's resolutions, this
We
would
can help
probably
you.
be a
Yeah.
good way to kick-start that off.
Yeah, we can help you. This ought to be generating some good conversation
I hope
on
so.
there.
I hope so. I am really curious if anybody has used that
Yeah.
cricket flour and why. I mean, it's obviously a more healthier option.
Yeah.
Because enriched flour is not really that good for
No,
you.
it's not. No.
That enriched part, it's got bleach in it.
This is
You know?
just good protein, crickets.
I guess.
Years ago, longer than I'd like to confess, it's been at least 50 years ago. That's hard for me to say. I was a counselor in West Virginia in a church camp for kids. And to make a long story short, a couple of the kids were gathering up bugs by the night lights. It was summertime. And they were just getting these big, every kind of bug that you could gather around the light. And they were getting them in their handful and just put them in their mouth and crunch them up and eat them. And they said, we do this at home all the time. So it's not going to hurt you unless you get a hold of something that's poisonous or whatever. But anyway, boy, our show really went downhill today quick, didn't it? It didn't take it long to...
You may think it's going downhill, but you thought Saturday was going downhill in
yes.
service.
Well,
But
it is.
It came together so great, and it may just be one
Yeah.
of the best services.
Well,
we've
you
had.
never know, yes.
Really.
We, the Saturday worship here, it was just kind of, as Mikey, our Filipino member, would say, complicated.
Yes.
And there was just a lot going on, and there'd been too many funerals that week, and too much stress, and too much of the roller coaster experiences here at
Just
Shades
the
of
old
Grace.
distractions.
Yes.
Yeah, the
And,
old distractions.
So anyway, and I found that so interesting, Jimmy, because
Okay.
do you remember just before, the week before, when I decided to write an article for the newspaper that I hadn't done in like 2 years?
Yeah.
I did the article on the dead flies
Yeah.
and the little foxes. And that's all in the world that was. On Saturday, that was distractions that I had written about and talked about that we shouldn't get caught up in. But I really felt like I've just kind of lost it. It was supposed to be the service of joy for Advent. And I felt like I was looking under rocks and looking all over the place for joy. But, before it was over, we had a good time, didn't we?
We all had the joy.
We had fun.
We've literally
And
had the joy.
more people left that day smiling and giving me a thumbs up or a fist bump and telling me we had a good time.
Yeah.
We had fun.
Yes, we did.
At my expense.
Yeah.
But I had
Well,
fun. I really did.
It was great.
And I found the joy.
Getting everyone involved
Right.
always helps.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to be
The
involved.
joy, joy, joy.
Yeah, that was good. But it was, we had a week of distractions. We were
Yeah.
here late Friday night.
Yeah.
Back here early Saturday morning, and we had some other distractions
yes.
going on in the morning we don't want to get into.
Yeah,
We
we've
just-
had some distractions that's been going on for
just a lot of things
couple of
going,
months.
just a lot of things going on, and
Yes.
as they say, our plates are full. But you know,
Yes.
after you put that article out, I was talking to a lady on the phone who was struggling with utilities and such, and just really trying to get everything together. And she said, well, it's just another fly in the ointment.
That's right.
You remember? And
Yes, yes.
I said, it's really funny that you said that.
Yeah.
I said, because just a few days ago, our Pastor Will had an article in the paper about the fly in the ointment.
Right.
And,
That's from Ecclesiastes, by the way. It says, dead flies in the apothecary causes the ointment to stink.
Now, you had to tell me what the apothecary was.
How many of you know what the apothecary is? We got some real good quiz questions here tonight, but that's an old word. It's found in the scriptures. But the apothecary was similar to what we think of today as a pharmacist, sometimes was a chemist, but it was a person who mixed together all kinds of things to make medicines and that kind of stuff. And so it was talking about even sometimes the real expensive ingredients, maybe they were using it for a salve or an ointment of perfume. And what it's talking about, when you open up an expensive bottle of perfume and find a dead fly on the top, then it may not be as appealing. But it's just a metaphor, an analogy of, it doesn't take a whole lot to distract from what you're trying to do. But anyway, that's what I wrote the article about.
I found a post on Facebook yesterday, and I shared it. It really touched me. And it was paraphrasing. It said, "Don't let the little things bother you, because you'll wind up being angry all the time."
I saw where you posted that. And that is true.
We talk about that, and I'm guilty. We're all guilty of letting just the little things that we can't control, that we can't change, take away that joy.
Because the Lord knows it is the little things that kind of set us off, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
We can handle the big things.
Right.
We can handle. We have some big things that happen here.
Yeah.
And we handle those, but these little bitty, small things.
They kind of sneak up on you. Just like
scary.
that one flew right down your throat today.
Oh, that definitely took. That was.
It's now a dead fly in the apothecary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you never knew how this show was going tonight.
We never know either.
We never know.
Never know.
Exactly.
But we don't have a special guest for you tonight. We will have one coming back. We have. Well, we'll share it with you.
Tell them what happened there, Jimmy.
We have. We've talked about ordering a new camera for a long time, but the new camera is finally on its way. It will be here within the next week or so. So we'll have that up and running.
We're getting
soon.
a new camera for Christmas.
We are, and we need one.
Yay.
Because this one just out of nowhere just stops working and
yeah.
gives us some trouble, and we don't always know when. The red light can be up there, but it's still not recording. But anyway, we had, and I don't want to tell them who it is because I want to keep it a surprise.
Our very special
guest. But we had
guest,
a very special
and
guest.
He had a beautiful
lined up for you last week. He recorded the whole segment, and then when we went to try to put it in, it wasn't working. So we're going to have him back.
Right. He said he would come back.
We want him back.
Yeah.
One of my favorite people.
Yes,
I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but he's absolutely one of my favorite people.
Yes,
and I'm so excited for him to share with you. So that will be soon. I know this is a busy time of year, but we will have him here very soon.
And the way it worked out, everything always works out. We had gone ahead. Annette Spence was here from the Holston Conference newspaper, and she had come to do an interview at Shades of Grace, take some pictures and notes and all of that. She's doing a story sometime right away between now and the end of the year about our 10 years at Shades of Grace. And so she had come, and we sat down and did an interview with her next door in our counseling office. And so we already had that one in the file. We were going to run it maybe tonight. Or next week, or Christmas night.
Yep.
But we went ahead and did hers last week. And then our other special guest, he will come back.
It always
works out.
So he will be back. And we'll have a new camera set up, and we won't be having these problems anymore.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
Just think about how many hours, though, that we have recorded on this camera. How many different locations this camera has been to over the years.
It was the roving reporter there during the first couple of years of COVID.
It sure was. We went to a lot of churches with this camera. So,
we were not allowed to have worship in our churches there for a while as United Methodists because of the COVID. And of course, that was really the forerunner of our Saturday worship services.
It is.
Because we were running around on Saturday mornings and recorded with Landon and Miss D, Jimmy and I, and maybe one other one occasionally. we would record, and then Jimmy uploaded them and put them on Sunday afternoon, just the way we had been doing the live stream for years.
Yeah.
And so it just developed right into a Saturday morning worship time.
A couple of people were asking how. They were curious. They wanted to see how we were recording these services. How are you doing that with nobody in the building? How are you putting everything together? And as the numbers, eased up a bit, we started inviting a few people to come watch with us. And do you remember the first? I'll never forget the first service that we ever recorded here without anybody in the building. That was the strangest service.
It was strange, yeah.
But we got in a rhythm, and and that has. That's what we do now.
Right.
And
I would stand there at the camera and I could visualize who sits in this side of the church, who sits back here, who sits against the wall, who sits. I kind of just with my imagination saw the cloud of witnesses around me and preached to them even though they weren't here. And we got used to that. It was
we did. We traveled around to a few other churches. Let's see, we went to
Nate and Julie Ware's church at Depews Chapel. Had a great time.
Yeah.
We went to Herman United Methodist. We went to Morrison Chapel. Let's see, we went to Christ Church of Kingsport. And Reverend Dice.
Richard Dice.
We went to. Did we go to Ketron? We didn't go to Ketron.
No, we didn't go to Ketron.
We went to, where else did we go? Colonial Heights.
Yeah.
There were several places we traveled
Glen
to.
Alpine.
Glen Alpine, yes, we did. Yes.
And that was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
And thank you to all those who opened their doors to allow us to do that. We went to Grange Hall.
Yes.
I remember that.
Spotlight on, we did Spotlight on some of the churches. And I love that. I wish someday that Jimmy, you and I could just take the camera and go around and just do a spotlight on some of the churches.
Yeah. Do a Will and Jimmy show.
Yeah.
And say,
guess where we are? Where are we?
I hear something.
See, now that's how things happen here. So without you typing it in so anyone else would know, if you're there, if you're a pastor or a congregation in the immediate area, and you would like us to come and record the Will and Jimmy show from your church and kind of spotlight your sanctuary, your church, and then we'll surprise everybody and let you guess where we are.
Yeah.
And we don't have to be United Methodist.
Right.
We'll come wherever, we'll come to anybody's worship place.
I'm trying to yeah, absolutely. I think we covered. That's about all the places.
There may have been one more.
It's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
But we really enjoyed that.
Yeah, we did.
So hey, I think I hear something. Some ideas are brewing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be fun.
We're all about change here. We never want to get in a rut.
Right.
We want to always keep people wondering.
And that usually doesn't happen here, does it? So, well, I've got some questions for you to keep some people wondering tonight. And I've got some Christmas questions for you.
Good.
These are all Christmas scripture questions. Okay. So question number one. All right. Everybody get ready here. I know we got some Bible scholars out there. How many days after the birth of Christ did Joseph and Mary give him the name Jesus?
It would have been on the 8th day after, he was 8 days old.
8 days old. That's it.
That was a matter of the Jewish procedures that were done. And at that time the children were named.
Yes.
They were given their name.
That was the law.
Yes.
That was the law. Okay. Question number 2. What was the name of the prophet whom Christians believe predicted the birth of Mary's boy child?
Well, is it only one, a prophet from the Old Testament?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
mentioned in the New Testament too, but from the Old Testament.
Well, I would say Isaiah.
Isaiah. That's it. Yes. Okay. Question number 3. According to the Bible, which animals were specifically mentioned as being present in the stable when Jesus was born?
Well, the sheep. Sheep were present. Let's see. You're talking about in the scriptures?
What does the scripture specifically mention? It's kind of a trick question.
What kind? You mean animals?
Mm-hmm. What they had to be specifically mentioned? Like, it doesn't say just animals. Like, does it say there were sheep, there were horses, there were, you know?
Well, there were. Hello.
Hey there.
We'll be with you just 1 second. Give us one. Are you in a hurry?
Okay.
Give us about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we're finishing up a recording. Hey, he could be our guest too.
Yeah, he wants to say hello.
We're going to have you on the camera in just a minute. Okay. So let's see. I would say the sheep.
None.
None.
There was no animal
Oh.
specifically mentioned.
None.
So, that's what I was
Okay.
saying. It was kind of a trick
Okay,
question.
that is, yeah.
Okay, and the final question. Matthew 1:21 states that these words were spoken to Joseph in his dream. She shall bring forth a son, and you shall call his name Jesus. Why was the name Jesus given to this special child?
For he should save his people from their sins.
Right.
And the word Jesus in the New Testament now is very synonymous with the word Joshua of the Old Testament, which means deliverer.
Savior.
Okay.
Right. That's it.
All right.
You got it.
Well, let's see, Jimmy,
Okay.
we've been at it pretty close to 30 minutes,
I
not
think
quite.
that's
Maybe
it.
you can pull up a song or something.
I'll do what I can.
Do what you
Here,
can.
hold on. Let's do this.
Yeah, there we go.
That'll be the ending to our
And we're
show.
going to have, we do have someone who just came in, and so he is going to be our special guest. He doesn't even know it yet. But come on over this way, young man.
All right.
And we will have just a very brief appearance by a special guest, okay?
Okay. Hold on.
So
We'll
hold
be right
on,
back.
we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, friends, we are back, and we told you that and you really are a surprise guest because
Surprise,
you just
yeah.
walked in.
I just walked right in. They're like, "Hey, come over here."
Yeah, he just walked in. And you know, the last guy who just walked in while we were recording was from the funeral home. I said, Jimmy, was he from the funeral home? Because, you know, I always have that same look, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I thought, hey, this guy's from the fire department, so
Something about the look.
how do we
I don't
know? Yeah. But anyway, this is our friend Barry Bricky. He's been around Kingsport for a good long while, and you were well known, Barry, for something to do with fire prevention. What is that?
Yeah,
Is it your voice?
Yeah, I was the national voice for Sparky the Fire Dog,
Oh wow.
and then I've been doing fire prevention here for the city of Kingsport in 18 and a half years. It'll be 19 in June,
All right.
and so it's been fun. I've been enjoying it, and we've been pretty successful.
All right.
You know, so seeing less people injured in fires, and especially the big thing, less fire deaths. And it's been a little while, and we're happy that is the
Yes,
case.
that's the
and
goal.
we want it to stay like
Sure.
that.
All right. So you were Sparky the fire dog.
Yeah, still have a robot Sparky too.
Do you?
So
How many of you all remember that? You that have been in here in Kingsport and the surrounding areas? Well, actually, it could be anywhere, right?
yeah, I did a video with the National Fire Protection Association back in 2011, and I was the voice for that video program.
And it went all over the
It went
nation.
all over the world.
Okay, so
And-
we have Canadian viewers who
hey.
watch us every week. So maybe
Awesome.
they saw it.
Yeah, we actually have a firefighter from Canada that's with us now.
Oh, do
So,
you?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a small world, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been, we do a lot of stuff. And prior to that, I actually used to work at a Christian radio station.
Okay.
And I'd been involved in youth ministry for almost 30 years.
Wow.
Until
Okay.
I retired recently.
Well, you're right at home doing the
Yeah.
Will and Jimmy show.
Yeah, this is, this is just,
old hat.
Yeah, it is.
You can probably teach us a few things.
well, maybe, I don't know.
But Barry has, there's another gentleman named Barry who's a friend of ours who works with the Kingsport Fire Department, and he's Barry Carr, C-A-R-R, right?
Yeah, we always say, well, this is my other brother, Barry.
Barry and his other brother Barry. So anyway, but this is Barry Bricky, and we are so glad that you just stopped in when you did today.
Absolutely.
And
And I brought you something.
Oh, you
I'll
did?
give it to you here in just a little bit.
Okay.
But it'll be, for our friends that are in the neighborhood here that might need it.
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
I've been able to get that, and we can pass on a blessing. So
well, thank you. You've been so kind. You have been a great blessing in this ministry and helping build bridges. I mean, you've helped us to build bridges with the city and with parts of the community. And I think it's so
Oh, yeah.
very vital.
well, and it's when a lot of people don't understand what all goes on here, and
Right.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
This it's supernatural.
It is. Well, it truly is.
I mean, it just totally is. And to see things. There's been times that I brought some items here that I came in and I said, Will, could you use this? And you're like, hey, you know what?
Somebody just asked us.
just came in,
Exactly.
and it never fails.
It always.
It's just amazing. And and I actually the things I have with me today, they're going to find a home very soon.
Good.
And I just
All
know
right.
they are.
All right, absolutely. There's so many verses in the Bible where the Lord says, I will answer even before you call.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
God already knows the end from the beginning. And there's so many times that one of my favorite stories here, Barry, was right after we had opened up, maybe been here a year, and a gentleman came in. He was maybe 6'8", really big guy. And we'd never seen him, and to be honest, never have seen him yet to this day. I mean, it's the one and only time we saw him. And he came in, and one of his soles was off of his shoe, is touching pavement. And this gentleman came in and he said, would you have a size 16? And we knew we didn't have it.
Oh, yeah.
We knew we didn't. But while he was yet standing there, a lady came in and had 2 pairs in her hand. Those things happen all the time. And whether it's a 16 or a 10 or a 12 or whatever, when God provides exactly what you need in the moment,
In the time.
you don't
In
forget
his time,
that.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's called prevenient grace. So Barry, it was God's grace that allowed you to step in when you did, for these few moments,
Absolutely.
to fill in the gap on the Will and Jimmy Show.
Absolutely.
Okay, so anything else you want to tell the people about fire safety?
Well, we always talk about this time of year because we have the chilly nights and things, and make sure that if you're using any type of heaters, that you have a good amount of space, at least 3 foot around them. That way, nothing will catch on fire from radiant heat. Or if you have a fireplace, make sure it has a screen on it. And, also, those smoke alarms in your house, make sure they're working. If they're over 10 years old, you need new ones. If you can't afford to get one, no matter where you are, you can probably go to your local fire department and get one. If you can afford them, then go get new ones. And also, the American Red Cross does a great job. If you can contact them, and they can sometimes send somebody over to help put them in
Great.
too. So, local fire department, Red Cross, lots of people can help you get those, and that way you're a whole lot safer.
Excellent. Okay, very good. So don't ever be afraid to ask.
We had no idea you were coming today. We were talking about fire safety earlier in our show tonight with the dangers of real Christmas trees.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, real Christmas trees.
Tell them about that.
Well, the interesting thing about real Christmas trees is how quickly they catch fire. You can go from a natural tree, when it starts burning, it can hit about 1,200 degrees in less than 30 seconds. And so that's why you should always have it watered and make sure that there's water in it every single day. The best way to tell if it's got enough moisture is when you grasp onto the limbs. If they're brittle and they break and just don't bend,
Time to put it out.
then it's time to water it really well. And if that doesn't help, you need to get it out of the house.
Okay.
And as soon as you're done celebrating the season of Christmas, move it out of the house, because you know how it is. You get after Christmas, you're like, but I still enjoy the decorations. I don't want to move them yet.
Right.
But we need to make sure that you're going to stay safe.
Okay, hopefully someone just needed to hear that. I thank Jimmy but we had actually
Thank
talked
you,
about
Jimmy.
that just a few minutes ago. So if you have any questions about fire safety, just reach out to the Kingsport Fire Department. They're wonderful people to work with, and they will just bless you and help you. And who knows, it could save a life.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, Sparky, thank you. Thank you for being with us.
Do I have to do it in the Sparky voice?
Give us your very best Sparky voice as you can remember it to be.
Well, the video starts out, the Sparky and the Runaway Robot was what the
Okay.
video is called, and you can actually see part of it on YouTube. And it goes, "Hi, I'm Sparky the fire dog. Let me tell you about the time I built this robot." And so then he talks about this fire safety robot that he built.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was
All
a lot
right.
of fun to do.
Good. So you can honestly say you have met Sparky the fire dog, and I'm going to get your autograph here today while we're
okay.
here.
Paw print
And then
or
I'll try to
something.
put it on Amazon and see if I can sell it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be worth much.
Who knows? Anyway, so once again, tell everybody Merry Christmas and God bless them.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a safe and joyous season, and just spend lots of time with your family and really remember what this season's about.
Amen. That's right. And thank you again, Sparky, a.k.a. Barry, for being with us. And the rest of you, God willing, we will see you on Saturday morning for worship. Music starts at 10. The choir, actually, we probably won't be doing the choir this Sunday or Saturday because of the rise of COVID in the community. We're trying to keep people safe for the big event next week for Christmas. So we'll probably just do regular singing and music. But music always starts at 10 and worship starts at 10:30. Come on out just as you are and join us for worship at Shades of Grace. Have a good night and we shall see you soon. Bye-bye.